Hello, this is Patrick. Welcome to Chart Built Wealth, profitable investing with technical analysis. Well, I wanted to come back to the S&P 500. Yesterday, I went from a bearish stance to a neutral stance, and after a big rise in the S&P 500 today, I wanted to go back to a bearish stance. Um, I know this is trading oriented, which some people have a negative connotation to, but tops are very difficult to pin down, and if this is the top in this rally from the '09 lows, it could be one to remember. I'm not really saying that is why I am short again, but the possibility is there. I'm just looking at the negative divergences we're seeing everywhere. And after an oversold market yesterday, the bounce today gives us another opportunity to short. And so let's get into it. So this is the long-term chart of the S&P 500, and going into the 2000 top, you see the big negative divergence on our relative strength index that was flashing a caution sign: beware, a change of trend is coming. The relative strength index, the RSI, measures the underlying oomph of the advance. It says that the stocks are going up, but on less underlying demand than it was earlier on back in 97. We had a small negative divergence in 2007. That was about a 14-month negative divergence, where this was a 2 or 3 year. And you can see, fast forwarding to 2018, we've had a negative divergence that is much larger than here. And you can see our bullish channel. You can see we're hitting our head on the top of that channel. And I know this, most people focus on one day at a time, but I always start with the big picture and then I try to work my way down into actionable ideas. So anyway, this is in the back of my mind, and that's the big picture. So seasonality, however, on a short-term basis, where it was bearish, it's now starting to turn bullish. And so it's just one tool in a market technician's toolbox that says that, hey, stocks, it's a tendency. Stocks should start going up. I mean, they should have went down in September. They didn't really go down in September. So, but I did want to point out, you're going to hear a lot about bullish seasonality and Santa Claus rally and all those good things. Santa Claus didn't deliver the last couple of years, however, in December. So anyway, I just wanted to point that out. So that first chart I showed went back to 1997. So you're looking at a 27-year chart or something like that. This is the intermediate term chart. This goes back about 3 years, and you can see on this that we have also a negative divergence as we hit all these higher highs. Uh, Yesterday, on the down day when I posted last night, I talked about a bearish engulfing pattern where prices started here last week and ended down at the lows and engulfed a couple of prior days candlesticks. That's what these are called, each one representing a week. And so that also says, from an intermediate term standpoint, we might have some downside here. I will point out that the last one we had, it did not affect stocks and they went higher. But you can go back through and you can see that there have been corrections 9 out of 10 of those times. So intermediate term is saying, hey, be careful, stocks could go down here. So now we're looking at it daily. We're going back like 8 or 9 months. And here's where I went bearish, I went neutral, I went bearish, I went neutral, I went bullish, I went bearish too soon. And then I went neutral, and I went bearish. Then I went neutral here on yesterday's down day. And today I'm turning around, I'm going bearish again. Where over here, you can see these higher highs, we rectified the uh, bearish convergence, the negative divergence with this higher peak here, but now we're showing another one. So on a daily chart, I'm still seeing similar things. Our Kelter channels, these are, probability bands. And when they hit the low end of the band, it's like, I don't know, 95% of the possible uh, amount of downside. So it's limited. And now we've got a nice uptick today, which gives me a better place to go in short again. So let's take a look at the intraday. That's really what's telling me, this is my spot. And again, it doesn't have to work, but where I gained here and what I lost from here to here is minimal. And so from the last bear sign to yesterday, I might have lost 3 or 4 or 5%, something like that. So again, and this isn't my whole portfolio. Yeah, I have plenty of longs, as followers know. I have 8 or 9 longs, and this is the only short. As I've explained, I'm, anywhere from 13% to yesterday at the close, I was down to about 6% net short. Now I'm back up to about 11 or 12% net short. So let's take a look at the intraday. It's just going to cover this last couple of months. And here we are. And so we got a breakdown, and I talked about the yesterday about the bearish rainbow convergence that was happening, where all these moving averages were clustering together, and that we'd either have a pause here or we'd have a retracement back to that convergence. This is a la Tom McClellan. I want to give him credit. And so here we are, we're up here at 66, 68, it looks like, is where the rainbow convergence comes into play. So as long as prices stay below that, if they can't get above that, it means a new lower low. It promises a new lower low. As we know, nothing is promised here, but it does promise a new lower low. We don't have any bullish uh, divergence back down here yet. So I think the reward to risk right here is good. I'm putting my stop at 6,700, this red line. I don't want to see a clear cut close above that, um, or I will go back to neutral. And I know I'm going to have to, work at this to get it right, but I'm willing to do that. So that's why I'm bearish. That's the setup. And oops, why am I got this? I'm sorry, MJ. We went neutral on that a few days ago. Please disregard. I don't have time to re-record this. I'll be traveling tomorrow, so it'll be difficult to update intraday, but it should be interesting. Thank you for watching Chart Built Wealth, profitable investing with technical analysis. Please like and subscribe. Tell your friends, neighbors, family. Adios.